So guys, so getting a little bit of work done on the brushless race cloud. If you take a look, there's a broken suspension link. And that link broke when I was working on the truck. I wasn't even driving it when it broke, so that kind of makes it even worse. But I knew those links weren't going to last. I bought them off eBay, they were really cheap. In fact, another one broke when I was putting the truck together, and the kit also came with an extra end. So I searched through my box of Clod parts and found a couple of these CPE links. They're not a whole lot better, they're a little better, but they're still kind of cheap. But for now they'll do, so I'm going to put these on, but the only problem is they're a little bit longer than what's in there, so I already took one apart. I'll probably just have to trim a little bit of this off and then thread it down deeper. Put these in so that way they're all the same length. And since I got two of them, I may as well use both. So now I'll get this body off, start working on it. So the body attaches at 4 points. No body clips. These are the plastic body washers from a Super Rock Ray. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of what I did. I've done some videos on this truck before, but custom aluminum chassis I made with really improved geometry, shock geometry, two 2S batteries, down low, 2 ACs, brushless motors, custom steering mounts. This is pretty cool. It mounts a servo on the axle. I made just a little aluminum bracket, front and rear, and that allowed me to use the stock bumpers. And those are aluminum axle tubes, just painted black. Trinity RevTech motors. Stock tires and wheels. I love the stock tires on these things. A lot of people change them, put a lot of aftermarket, but to me there's only so many ways to make a V. And these tires really absorb a lot of the impact. And they're pretty lightweight. These are just stock plastic HVI shocks. I'll probably upgrade them in the future, but for now they'll do. I still have to do some suspension and steering tuning, but I really didn't run this truck too much before the link broke. But the little bit that I did run it, it ran awesome, so I was definitely impressed. I took all the bronze bushings out, put full ball bearings in the diffs, locked the rear, left the front open. So it's definitely a fun little truck. So now I'll just pull the batteries out, get these links off. Batteries are just held in place by Velcro. I was going to make like a fancy battery hold down, but this works perfect. It's lightweight, it's strong, easy to get the batteries in and out. See, they just barely fit in there. So these are 2S's. There's one for the front motor, one for the rear motor, so it's still only 2S because there's two separate ESCs. But they're little powerhouse batteries, 130C, 4300 mAh, so it's a quick little truck. So just like my full-size truck, I like to make everything easy to work on, so you can flip this thing over and it sits right there like that, balances nicely. So now I'll just pop these links off, shorten these, get this thing up and running again. And it's pretty cool because all the stock components, like the stock suspension arms and everything, will bolt right up to this chassis. So if I wanted to, I could run all the stock parts. Not that I would, but if you want, you can. Little Clod tip, check this out. So if you're running this style link suspension, it's much easier to put the screw in from the backside, put a nut on it, put your link in, and then put another nut, so that way you could just unscrew the nut. You don't have to use the screwdriver to hold it on the other side. So little tip, I try to make everything as easy to work on, fast as possible. So you can see this is where it broke. And here's the CPE link, so it's a little bit longer. It's almost like an inch longer, maybe like ½ inch. So I'll just shorten these up real quick, get it back on. Okay, now before I cut this link down, I'm gonna drill the end out. Because once I cut this, it's going to be a bit more work to center the drill. It would be a two-step process. So what I'm going to do is just put these side by side till they're the right length. It's really easy to tell. Mark where I gotta cut it. Right there. Now, before I cut this, what I'm gonna do is drill it, because it's a lot easier to put the drill bit in an existing hole than to start a new one. If I start a new hole, it's still really easy. I would just have to do a two-step process. I would just put a pilot hole and then drill it, so it's a lot easier. Just go right through there. So I'm going to take this over to the lathe, set it up, drill that hole. So right here is my old lathe, built in 1946. It's still going strong today. This is made by a company called Atlas Closing. It's crazy, 1946, and this thing still works perfect to this day. I actually have another lathe coming. I already ordered it, paid for it a couple months ago. It's being built right now by a company called Haas. It's a big CNC lathe, because I had a manual mill, and then once I picked up this CNC one, I'm definitely not going back to manual. It's so good. Once I learned how to do all the programming, write what's called G-codes, learn Fusion 360, definitely CNC is the way to go. So now I'll just get this thing set up in here, drill and tap it, get that clodbuster running in no time. Having the CNC will be so much faster doing all this stuff, and more accurate too. I can really make a lot of other cool stuff too. Now I'll just drill it the rest of the way. And I'll just run Mr. Tap in there. This thing will be good to go. So now I'll just put the end in. Threads right in. Crank it down, put a power move on it. Now I'll get this cloud going. So now before I pop it on though, I'll just double check it's the right length. Yup, exact. So it's perfect. Pop this in. Snug these down, I'll be cloud busting in no time. I actually just noticed something, little issue. This one sits up higher because there's a spacer underneath it. Like that, and this one sits flush, so I gotta do something about that. I can't really tell if these are the same size or not. It'd be nice if they were, because then I could just pop one out and put it in, but I don't want to take the chance of breaking it, so I think I'll just cut the round part of that off and use the bottom as a spacer. I got a better idea. Instead of trying to cut the ball off that insert, I'll just take the old link, the broken one, I'll drill it out bigger, and I'll make little misalignment spacers. This is like the old style way of doing this. This lathe is all original from 1946. I think it's pretty cool though. I like old machines. Okay, so I finished two spacers, made them up real quick, took about 10 minutes, and I put a little taper at the top of them. Gives the joint a lot of room to move, so I got one for there, one for the axis side. So that's nice, I like that. It puts the link at a better angle. And I was actually thinking about making a block that bolts on each side here and here, and puts the link, instead of bolting from the top down, it comes to the side just like that. That'll even put it at a better angle. It's probably why this broke, because you don't get a lot of movement like that. So I think that's something I'm gonna make up. So I'll get everything tightened up. We'll take this cloud for a spin. All right, back in business. Just get the body on. Alright, so that was no fun. All the other links broke, except for the CPE link that I just put in. So I guess I gotta do all the other 3 links plus a side. So I don't know, back to the drawing board. I'll find a better link solution. So anyway, take care. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe. See you next time.